Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's episode of the show, we are going to recap Fight to Win 99 in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to preview the Kasai Super Series in Dallas, Texas. We're going to preview Fight to Win 100 in Honolulu, Hawaii, and Pantheon Grappling in Leeds, UK. As always, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing this week, Emil?
Doing pretty good, Maine. I'm excited for Kasai Super Series, except I can't actually cover it. I am bummed about that. I'm excited to preview it.
So we're going to cover it on the show. It just won't be you as per usual.
No, dude. This is like I've been thinking about this and like
since we've been running the show, you have been out or on business travel or like something has come up for a bunch of the marquee and major events we've covered.
Yeah, I know. Like if you look back at all of the episodes that Ryan Stark has jumped in to like cover, he gets all of the dope fucking events like Quintet and Kasai, man. It's just like shit. I wish
another one you're gonna miss.
Yeah, dude. Especially this one.
And you're missing
fucking stacked.
And you're missing our recap of Fight to Win 100 next week.
God damn it.
So how's your week been?
Good. Good otherwise. So
that's good. So where do you want to start? We got some news.
Yeah, let's get into the news.
All right. So biggest news: AJ Agazarm made his Bellator debut.
Yeah, how'd that go for him, man?
Not great. He lost a split decision, and everyone has memed the shit out of him making the what I don't know what face you would call that in the middle of the ring.
I'm not sure.
He makes him he puts his chin out, and then the dude he was fighting smacks him in the face, Diaz style, and then he just like holds his chin out there all angry, and he doesn't win.
It's just like, I'm with the shit talking, but maybe get a couple W's under your belt there, before you start doing.
He's in such a weird spot competitively because he's really, he's really good. Like you don't become a no-gi black belt world champion IBJJF without being really good, but he has a bunch of like weird losses where it's like, he just has these weird performances. Like going to ADCC, you don't get to that level without being really good, but then he has all these weird losses recently. That's like that's odd.
Yeah, he's good at points battling as we've talked about before. In terms of MMA, like eking out a win by points doesn't always translate to like, having a good MMA skill set.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
We'll see how it works, and it's still early on, but yeah.
It will be interesting.
I'm sure he sold a lot of views, so
I'm sure every grappling enthusiast tuned in to watch him get punched in the face.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good heel, so we'll see where it goes.
So another potentially more exciting news.
Yeah, so for the IBJJF Heavyweight Grand Prix, they just announced Lucas the Hulk Barbosa is the third person behind Gordon Ryan and Buchecha.
Dude, that is shaping up to be a really, really
This is already fucking stacked. Like,
yeah, three guys of the 8 are like, God damn, I want to watch any of these matchups.
Yeah, those are like 3 of my favorite fighters in terms of just overall quality, right? Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like,
just the top level guys.
Yeah,
gi, no gi, aside from Brian who doesn't like the gi.
Yeah,
so that's exciting.
It's fucking huge, man. And this is just beginning, and it sounds like they're soliciting people to like.
It sounds like they're gonna
suggestions. So like, I have a feeling the other 5 slots are gonna be also equally fucking like huge names.
Because a lot of the top guys will compete on these pro IBJJF events, and like they usually can pull some guys that usually you would kind of not expect to be in these. So that's exciting. I am ready for them to drip out one of these a week until the event finally happens.
Fucking A, right, dude. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. So,
yeah.
It's a while out yet, but it's gonna be fucking.
It's
awesome.
Getting exciting. So I don't have any other news. It has been a quiet week for news.
Yeah, that's about it.
I went to Cowboy Cerrone's first MMA promotion down in Virginia.
Awesome.
That was it was fun. Lots of fun amateurs. Watch some guys get knocked out.
Lots of Bud Light everywhere.
No, surprisingly not. Actually.
What? You didn't get Bud Light to sponsor that shit?
No, and I watched a lot of guys get like submitted and do funny things on the grappling. You're like, oh yeah, you're watching amateur MMA. This happens.
Yep.
You watch some dudes that are amateurs, you're like, God damn, this dude is going to be a monster if he keeps, like, getting better. So that was a lot of fun. That was a fun way to spend a weekend.
Hell yeah, dude. That sounds awesome.
So let's get into the show.
Yeah.
So one more recap of Fight to Win 99 in...
Scottsdale, Arizona.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not in my... I was like, oh, my God, where did it occur? Which paid at a total of $35,015 in television commissions and was headlined by Marcelo Andre defeating Matheus Gabriel via decision.
Yeah, this was a fucking awesome card.
Dude, It was amazing. The whole match video, the whole event video is up, and dudes were going for submissions. And I do not recall the last fight to win event we've seen that has had this like consistent level of action, match after match after match after match.
Especially the main and the co-main. And before we keep going, I am gonna call another rewind recommends here. The co-main event is fucking awesome, and I'll tell you more about it. But that's Gerson Ategu versus Santos Rivera, and it is fucking amazing.
I thought you were saying the main event. I was like, that'd be on the
main event is actually fight of the night, and I can see that. I did want to give the co-main some love because it's hard for me to pick a favorite out of those two, and so really the rewind recommend should be like go back and watch the main and co-main, but definitely the co-main.
You know, I mean, we make this list, like we can just add them both to the list. That's totally fine.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you decided to do this thing, so like add what you want to add to it,
yeah,
man.
Dude. Both of these, the main and co-main are so fucking good. And to give you just to remind you, the overall idea behind Rewind recommends is if there's a match that we see that we would, we in fact do, pull people that we know aside for no other reason than to be like, yo, watch this. This is fucking amazing. This is really good. Or if we want to go to someone who hasn't seen jiu-jitsu before and we can show them, get them excited about it. These two matches are that. This is why we watch jiu-jitsu and grappling overall.
So we're launching the website this week. So when this episode comes out, our website will be up, and this list of the current Rewind recommends will be up there, so you can go back and you can go and click through and look at the previous matches that are on this Rewind recommends list for hot and spicy fire jiu-jitsu.
That's all right.
So we're going to start. You start with the co-main here, or you want to start with the main event?
Let's start with the main. We'll
Okay.
just go down.
This match was crazy.
This is the Marcio Andre defeating Mateus Gabriel by decision. It was fight of the night for the black belts.
I thought it was deservedly fight of the night. Like it was an outstanding matchup.
Dude, so what really like shook me about this was like there was an amazing flying armbar attempt by Gabriel, right? And Marcio counters and gets out by doing a headstand roll, like while his arm was just ridiculously extended.
It's super close to the camera too, so you can see it, and you see the arm all the way out, and you're like, oh goddamn, he is gangster about this escape.
He does it looks like a breakdancing move to get out. And then here's the crazy part. They both get, there's a scramble and they both get back to their feet. And Marcio hits a fucking beautiful judo foot sweep. And Gabriel gets down to his knees, like kind of like turtling. And Marcio does a flying triangle to counter, as like a fuck you. Like, you want to do flying shit? I can do some flying shit.
And it was in sequence. So basically, he gets out of the armbar, they reset the position in the middle, he does the foot sweep, and then immediately, so when someone does a judo foot sweep like that, what they usually do is they'll pressure both collars down in order to establish position. Usually will take the back or like take a top position of some sort. And when he goes to stand back up, he jumps it there from the knees.
Yeah.
The transition was just outstanding. And yeah, like Emil said, it seemed like a fuck you, I can do this too.
Yeah.
But that was sort of the flavor of the whole match. Like both of these guys consistently trying to kind of outdo each other in the positions. Like one guy goes for footlock, the other guy goes for a footlock. Especially at the end of the match, they were trading back and forth those footlock
there was a
battles.
There was a double straight ankle lock there.
And then it was switched over to an Estima lock, and like all of them looked super deep. It didn't look like showy technique. It looked like both these dudes are going at it and trying to like, hey, I can do this too. Super impressive performance, and it was go back and watch. I actually really enjoyed the beginning of this match. You got some really, really good technical grip battling at the beginning, and some like nice sweep attempts and like back take attempts.
Yeah, there was no concessions here in terms of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take guard here. It's like, nah, we're gonna work from the fucking feet, and I'm gonna try to take you down. Oh, you're gonna try to take me down? Cool. Like there was, it was.
It was exactly what we like to see out of the fight to win rule set, where it's two guys that get, hey, we're not playing for the points. I'm trying to dominate you and like submit you.
Right.
And it was this rule set. This is the match, and these are the type of matches, and this is why we love Fight to Win so much, because you get these kind of matches where guys aren't playing for the points. The points don't matter. It's all about trying to finish the other guy. And at a high level like this, occasionally you get decisions, but man, it was an exciting back and
this
forth.
was really, really exciting. I mean, like, I'm not salty at all that this went to the decision. This was an exciting match. There was like a couple minutes where they were in kind of like a guard battle, like 50-50, but they were still doing really good attempts. They were working. It was actual, like when I say technical battle here, it's not a. Sometimes I use that as a coded like. Yeah, they're kind of just like grip fighting and shit. This was
sometimes it was boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
this was good.
This wasn't that.
And it definitely ended great too. Again with like the double straight ankle locks and estima locks.
But I liked at the end, a lot of times you see guys throw those foot locks up at the end of a match, and it's kind of like they're bullshitting. Like you don't have the ankle lock. You don't have like you'll see a lot of times, especially in any format, not even just fight to win. Guys at the last seconds will throw up some foot lock, and you're like, there's no way he's ever gonna get that. And both these probably 3 or 4 different footlock attempts you saw, they weren't just like, oh, he's never gonna get that. It was like, oh, he is really diving and trying to like correct the position and get the finish here, because going into the decision, like it could have gone either way. You could make an argument for either one. I think the decision is correct, but given the action and the pacing of the match and the sub attempts by both people, like you can make an argument either way.
Yeah. We win, basically.
Oh yeah,
the viewers win.
This is the fans win kind of match here.
Yeah. So let's talk about the co-main. So this is Gerson Attigue defeating Santos Rivera.
Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
Because I for the life of me, I've repeatedly butchered it over and over and over. And we've covered him on the show a couple times at this point, and I just keep butchering the man's name.
Yeah, it's not phonetic, but anyway, this is an amazing match. Like I have no question doing a rewind recommends for this match, and I mean, I'm just gonna read some of the things that happened here. There was a flying backstep toe hold attempt, spider reverse De La Riva inverted sweep, a leaping back take, like just. There was there was like even a slam in there. There was another slam attempt where they kept the guard honest and they actually like released and reset, which is just exciting to see because, you know, it goes back to everything that we love about slams, keeping jiu-jitsu honest, keeping the guard honest, where people aren't just locking up and being lifted off the ground unrealistically. Like you saw these adjustments and everything. It was fucking nuts. And, you know, whereas the main event had, you know, this like discrete like amazing flying armbar to like flying triangle kind of like immediate attack. This match is incredible to me because there's no single like thing like that. Like there's no single like
there's no one standout moment
this is
in
just,
the match.
They're going fucking ham the whole time. And, you know, like,
I wish I could see Emil's face right now. He is, whenever he talks about a Rewind Recommends match, he always gets super excited. I think, in my head at least, that's my barometer for like, oh yeah, this is definitely Rewind Recommends.
And like, you could hear it in the crowd too. They're chanting, they're going fucking crazy.
Dude, the crowd and the commentators were really good this event. There's something about the way they had the audio mixed where it was like super clear. The commentators got how to use the mics. They had good information. They had good, like, I really enjoyed. The whole event overall was really, really good. But the combination of the match, the crowd, and the commentators made this just amazing.
It's amazing. So, like, to the end of the match, like, there's a slam on Santos, and he counters with a baby bolo to back take to mount. And, like, time runs out with Gerson getting, like, a hard toe hold, and Santos shaking his head and just like wagging his tongue like with the buzzer like going like the bell ringing, like it fucking ends just like complete mayhem. Like these are the kind of matchups fucking amazing.
These are the kind of matchups that deliver. And
go and watch this. Like do yourself a favor and go and watch this fucking match. It's just awesome. It's really, really good.
So that was not fight of the night for the black belts, but you know you can make an significant argument that it was great. Do you want to move on to the submission of the night for the black belts?
Yeah, let's go to submission of the night.
All right, submission of the night for the black belts is Andrew Gardner versus Daniel. What's that name?
Priebe, I think.
Priebe, maybe.
Yeah. So this was an omoplata choke.
I couldn't tell at the finish here if it was what finished was the omoplata or what finished was like the Japanese finish style on the collar choke from the back.
It was definitely the Japanese finish on the like kind of bow and arrow. So basically, there's a beautiful sequence where Andrew pulls reverse De La Riva and he's able to swim back in to get to butterfly with kind of like a cross collar grip.
And it's really cool here. He forces I love butterfly. So what I saw here was he forces
Daniel's head to the mat.
Well, he forces his hand to the mat.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
like
sets it up initially.
He almost does like a collar drag. It's so hard that it looks like Daniel's forehead hits the mat or like close to it at some point. And that's a great destabilization, and it sets him up to shoot in the omoplata. And he has a really nice omoplata. He has his arm across the waist to prevent the roll, and he starts kind of like fighting for the lapel grip.
Here's some really interesting here too. Technically, he's using the collar to control the posture in addition to having his arm over the back as well. And so you start to see him like have the close side collar and then switch to the far side collar when he has his hand over the back to like begin to pull that out for even additional control to begin to set up the next thing he's going to do in this sequence.
Yeah, so the announcers kind of correctly identify this as a like Clark Gracie style like omoplata.
Yeah, they called it a Clarkoplata.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I know exactly what that is.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like I can picture it, and it's a very strong position. Like, there's a like half dozen photos of Clark being like lifted and stood up where he's just like chilling in the omoplata position.
There's one picture of him doing that.
Well, there is, but like you see
picture.
it a lot. But like it happens a lot. It's
a
strong position where like they can stand up and you're just like locked onto them. And so at this point, Daniel tries to roll to get out of this, but he's Andrew's completely locked in,
and they go to like almost what would look like a back crucifix position.
Exactly. That's exactly how I wrote it down. It looks a lot like a crucifix, but with an omoplata kind of orientation with the legs. And Andrew gets what looks exactly like a bow and arrow kind of grip.
I think in quotes there it's going to be a collar choke from the back.
It is, but it looks basically like a bow and arrow where you have a crucifix that's actually the omoplata positioning. Yeah. And then he does the Japanese finish, which is where you take your free hand and you stick it behind the neck and you kind of make a scissoring motion to get the choke.
You push down. I don't know why that's the Japanese finish.
It might be. I think it's just in judo it happens a lot more. Because
you see, because the turtle position is so evident there, so you see a lot of guys that will finish from that position. Oh, speaking of judo, not to completely non sequitur, but to completely non sequitur, BJJ Scout, for some reason this entire week...
Oh, yeah, they've been posting fucking crazy judo shit.
Just been posting judo shit.
Like, a lot of arm bars, too.
No, a lot of, like, super deep chokes that the judo refs don't recognize, and you watch some guy get put to sleep, and then the choke is still in, and, like, the ref hasn't called it, and you're like... He's dead. Fuck. And there was one of my commented on as the podcast was like, from the time the hand goes limp to the time the choke's off, it's 7 seconds. And then someone commented, I counted 12.
Oh my God.
And you just look like, God
that's
damn,
dangerous.
it was a woman, and I was like, she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
And so BJJ Scout this whole week, for some reason, out of nowhere, and BJJ Scout will do this occasionally. They'll go into other grappling sports, into like sambo or into wrestling or into judo, and just forget it on a kick. And this week they're on a judo kick, and it has been a treat to watch
fucking
it in my
amazing
feed.
Newaza. Like, absolutely go and check their channel out. It's so entertaining, and it's the kind of like highlight shit that again you could show someone that doesn't know goddamn anything about grappling, and they're gonna be like, holy fuck, this looks dope.
Like, that was amazing. So I completely lost my spot in the notes. Oh, it's a Japanese finish, yeah. So he finishes it Japanese style, and the camera, I love the camera work here, because the camera is focused directly on both competitors facing towards and up, so you can see exactly what hand position changes, how the fight's happening, and exactly how the finishing sequence happens. And it's a really good, like, almost like positional study to watch on exactly how to control the position, how to bait to get what you want, and then how to kind of walk someone down a rabbit hole in order to get the submission you want. And it's just beautiful technique and deservedly submission light for the black belts.
I agree. So then we have Victor Emmanuel defeating Daniel Gurupado by decision. We have Sean Downey defeating Ismat Abdullah Mahid by decision, and this is a hilarious match. Like there's at one point Sean scrambles to donkey guard and like throws like this crazy toe hold attempt, but like just seeing anytime I see donkey guard, like I think of Jeff Glover. And
he invented it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he invented it. Like, you see Jeff Glover, like, walking towards someone, ass in the air.
Exactly.
In defiance of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Exactly. Like, just, like, batshit insane, but also, like, weirdly effective.
You just see Helio rolling over in his grave, like, fuck, this is what Jiu-Jitsu became. But, and honestly, he sets up a lot of toe holds off donkey guard and stuff like
exactly.
that. So it's not a legitimate position, but it does have options from the position.
I don't think Sean was going for this, so I can't call it a donkey guard, but it's that position. It's the reverse kind of like mount position where, you have the toe hold, and that's more or less it. So, but I always think of donkey guard when I see it. Yeah. So then we have Mike McGregor defeating Paul Nava by neck crank. This was fucking great. In fact, just thinking about this now, we gotta add in like a fucking goon award of the week
A
because
goon
like
award of
this was the gooniest shit I've ever fucking seen. So Paul,
Usually it's me who appreciates like the goon technique.
it's
of the
rubbed
week.
off on me. Like I
Yeah.
fucking love this shit. So Paul starts off with a great blast double, and immediately gets swept with Mike on top in like this fucking deep scarf hold. Like holy shit. And Mike is able to get a gable grip behind the head.
So this is like the Josh Barnett Dean Lister.
This is exactly what I wrote down. I was like, this is the Josh Barnett, Dean Lister, dark place, catch wrestling, neck crank finish.
Dark place.
Yeah, you remember when in the rules meeting for, was that Metamoris?
They didn't. It didn't happen in Metamoris. It happened in. Oh no, it was Metamoris. Yeah, you're right. It happened in Metamoris.
So in the rules, the rules for that event were hilarious because the rules meeting, because they're like the athletes are asking questions. And Josh Barnett is like, they're asking about like legal submissions, and he's like, what happened? Like, what if we just put them in a really dark place? And like everyone's kind of chuckling, and that's exactly what he did. He just sat on top of Dean Lister's head
that was
for
the
like
first
fucking
time
20 minutes.
Lister had been tapped in like 17 years or 13 years or
some
something.
dumb fucking amount. Like, and it
And he
is
tapped with like 3 seconds
a
left.
brutal neck crank. Like,
Yeah, and Josh Barnett was like, it was a choke, and everyone's like,
you just fucking ripped his head off.
you
like,
ripped his spine out
which
of his
is
body.
dope. Like, it's goon.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking awesome. It's catch wrestling. It's like, it's
Yeah.
all these fucking things that I love. But like, every time I think of that, like, I think of that question that Josh Barnett
What
asked.
if I just put him in a dark place?
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
reasonable. I see, but I'm going to caveat this here. When we say goon of the week, like that is
that's not. I don't say that pejoratively.
no,
I say that with,
that is a compliment of
I
like,
adore this shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
because whenever I teach guys in the gym, I always like, look, in the gym, maybe not, but like it's legal.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like if you can do it, like strength is a technique.
Yeah.
We all want to, as a small guy, I want to pretend like it's not, but it fucking is. And if you can tap me by like grabbing my face and turning it, and it's not illegal to do that, you can win. Was it a goon move? Totally. Did it work? Totally.
Fuck yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't even think that this is like a like strength wins out move. This
No,
is
the
just
technique on it is very good too. You see
Yes.
the hand grip and like
Yeah.
the way he adjusts. Like it's a very good technique.
Yeah.
But there is definitely an element of strength here in order to hit and pull it correctly.
yeah. And I mean, like, it's, I think we don't see it as much in jiu-jitsu because it's a neck crank. Like, but like it's totally a fucking awesome move.
And
so,
it's totally a legal move.
yes. So
Yeah, don't forget you can crack the neck, man. That's
Yeah.
illegal.
yeah, rip their head off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I'm definitely rubbing off a new meal.
yes. Next match we got Doug Moore defeating John Botello by armbar.
This was a really nice back and forth match. Love
really, this match it was great, and like the finish was fucking dope.
The finish happened with 6 seconds left. I
Uh,
always love a last second finish where it's like, oh, he's going for the goal, and he gets him.
yeah, exactly. Tap with 6 seconds left. It was fucking awesome. This match is why it's like a prime example of why bottom half guard is a liability, and especially nogi. Like, I've recently been like introduced to this concept, of really like not accepting half guard.
Half guard is
Because-
giving up half the guard. A lot of people will say differently, and a lot of people use the technique and are very, very good at
Yes,
it. But
don't get me wrong, and they're like outliers, like fucking Lucas Lepre.
it doesn't
like,
count. You can't.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, like Damian Maia, all those dudes. Like, you can't necessarily rely on how successful they are translating to like how successful you're gonna be.
Dude, as a little guy, I don't want to be in half guard.
I don't want to be in half guard. This is
Because I don't have both of my legs to do both of the leg
yes.
stuff.
This match is the perfect example because look at how much energy John has to expend just preventing the pass. I counted one legit like threatening sweep attempt by him where he did like this lockdown to like whip up to like an old school sweep.
I mean, the transition's really great,
It's
but
great,
he's using a
but
ton
he
of
also
effort on the
gets,
bottom there.
Yeah, he gets stuffed, and like every other ounce of energy he's expending is preventing the pass or submission.
Yeah, and I think definitely, like you said, in gi, it's a lot more available in gi because you have the additional friction on the pants grip there. But in no gi, especially later into a match when guys get a little sweatier, even with the rash guards there, it's like it's way harder to have that level of control without the grip, without the lapels.
And the other thing is like Doug is using this to like get Kimura grips And he clearly has an amazing Kimura trap game. Like, multiple times, he latches on to a Kimura grip, and he is, like, all over the place doing, like, back takes and fucking transitions.
Dude,
and
guys that are good with that grip will just hold that grip.
Yeah.
And it's like, they own it. You've had guys that you train with,
Yeah.
like, grab the Kimura grip, and you're like, haha, I'll pull my arm.
Oh, fuck.
And I'll roll, and you're like, all right, give me the fucking arm back now.
Yeah.
Like, I got out of the position, like, oh, nope, I still got the arm.
Yeah. So, it's like, if someone is using the Kimura trap position on you, like, you can't afford to be in a fucking, like, half guard game where they can more or less grab that on you, like, at their will.
You can't get your shoulders far enough away.
Yeah, no.
Or your hips far. Dude, having that Kimura trap sucks.
It sucks, man.
Like, it's a hard position to get out of.
Yep, it's when someone's proficient with it. So anyway, there's that. But, like, Doug has a beautiful back take, and he switches to an arm bar with 14 seconds left and then gets the tap with 6 seconds left. So fucking amazing. Like,
really, really good.
Really great. Like, definitely great technique here, stuff like that. So check it out. Next match we have Paulo Eduardo Freire defeating Michael Kaplan by split decision. There's a lot of 50-50 in Berimbolo here. Then we have Logan Jewell defeating Rob Johnson by toe hold.
Oh, hold up. There were so many fucking toe holds on this card.
Yes. Yeah. This is, I think
Arizona, please calm down.
We've talked about this, but I mean, toe holds are fucking, like, they're fucking great.
I was talking to Rachel, and she goes, yo, I'm most excited for Purple Belt because toe holds become legal.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm more excited about that than anything else.
Yeah, they're fucking people who are good at them. Like, it's a very quick submission when someone fucking throws it on there. So this is an awesome match. It's short, but there's a great sweep finish to toe hold. So that Logan hits. So definitely check it out. So then we have Javier Torres defeating Anthony Torres by decision.
Torres versus Torres.
This is Torres versus Torres. There was aggressive stand-up fighting from Javier, and he does kind of like the Diaz, like, like how Diaz raises his arms, like, come at me. And he's like, at the time he's doing it, I was like, all right, that's borderline dickish. But then he goes full kind of like, yo, you need to chill out. Like, he pushes Anthony off of the ring in this match. And this isn't like, oh, he's doing a blast double and they just kind of like ran out. Like, he's backing Anthony up to the edge of the ring, and then he just shoves him off. Like, the commentators were like, I don't know about that. The crowd's fucking booing. Like, and Anthony comes back in with, like, he's limping a little bit. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like, I get being aggressive, and I get, like, the kind of like Muhammad Ali, Tim Spriggs mentality where it's like you want to, like, rip their head off, but you can't shove someone off of a whole fucking, like.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Unless they're AJ Agazarm.
Yeah, exactly. Then if Benson Henderson decides you need to get checked.
But he also double legged him.
Yeah, exactly. He double legged him off.
He actually did use legitimate technique to get him off the stage.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. Next match.
Yep. So then we have Michael Fowler defeating Joe Murphy by decision. So,
dude, this is like the fifth time I'm gonna stop for a second. It's like the fifth time I've lost my place in the notes today. I don't know what's going on. I'm back now, but I just want to let you know, I was like, I keep losing my place in my freaking notes.
So Mike Fowler has a fucking incredible haircut. Like, it looks like kind of like reef coral. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Commentators,
you don't open with technique. You open with, he has an incredible haircut.
I mean, dude, it's insane. And, one of the things I love about Fight to Win is the spectacle. And, this definitely a spectacle. But the commentators were saying he got his black belt in less than 5 years. And
that's super impressive.
They're kind of like rattling off, like, the few people, that can actually fucking claim that. So
not many.
Yeah, not many. So, at one point, like, there was like, it goes to decision. There's like a few toe hold attempts here as well. So
surprising, Arizona.
Surprise. We have Josh Rodriguez defeating Matt Mamelin by decision. We already covered the submission of the night.
So when we went to the brown belt results,
let's do it.
All right. So we want to start with the brown belts. We want to start with submission of the night or the fight of the night.
Let's do fight of the night.
All right. Let's start.
So that would be Josh T. Burns defeating Chris Schumann by Ezekiel choke. By the way, before we get into the match, Schumann has the most faded belt I have ever seen in my life. It is white.
Yeah.
It is a white brown belt.
Those are always
anything like it.
Those are always the scariest dude. I trained with a dude years ago who apparently had like a gray purple belt that almost looked like a blue belt. And like that's not uncommon, but apparently it was like a 7-year purple belt.
Oh,
It was just like
Jesus.
faded and tattered and bullshit. And it was just like a guy that should almost basically be a black belt. Just as like bounce gyms, come around, and you just looked at the belt like, what the fuck belt is
shit.
that? And like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a purple belt. You're like, no, it's not.
It's fucking terrifying is what it is.
Yeah, so whenever you see a guy with a belt that is that fucked up, you're like, man, I gotta fight this monster now. All right.
So John has a failed takedown. It looked like a drop Seoe, and Chris ends up on top.
So what was that? A drop what?
Seoe Nage.
Seoe Nage?
Yeah.
Isn't it drop Seoe Nage?
It's Seoe, right?
What?
Seoe?
I think I've always heard it as drop Seoe Nage.
I think that's just people slurring it.
Oh. Well, the more you know, Joe.
Here, let's...
Emil.
Josh Emil, pedantic fucking...
Yo, Josh got honest.
pedantic Japanese asshole.
Josh
speaking...
got honest last week. Apparently, I said serieses. And, and then I was like, fuck you, Josh. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, oh my God, I say it like 3 times.
Yeah, it's Seoi. Seoi. Nage.
Okay.
FYI, dog. Danaher would be fucking scowling at you right now.
He would do that anyway.
Yeah, he would do that. So anyway, failed drop Seoi Nage by John, and Chris ends up on top, and he progresses to a really nice armbar Kimura grip and follows through nicely with the armbar roll. Like, there's this really awesome like rolling sequence where he just like stays completely glued on there. But John is able to get up to his feet and get his arm out for the reversal. He gets to mount, and then he gets that like fist in like Ezekiel.
The fuck you, Ezekiel.
The fuck you, Ezekiel.
The one that's, I call it a fist choke.
Yes.
It's like everyone's like, it's an Ezekiel choke. Nah, it's a fist choke. It hurts the entire time. Where it's like, you're not technically attacking the windpipe, but it's right there.
Yeah. So this is just, it's a fucking great, like, it's a great comeback, you know, like,
Yeah.
like you are in fucking, like, deep shit. Someone's trying to rip your arm off. You can't even roll out of it. You're barely able to, like, pull it out, and then you get to mount, and Ezekiel choke the motherfucker.
Up, up.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, great match. Great transition there. And deservedly fight of the night for the brown belts.
Hell yeah.
So let's move on to the submission. If that's not submission of the night.
Yeah.
So moving on to the submission of the night for the brown belts, we had, give me the name here, Emil, because I couldn't.
Steel Levine, I guess.
Okay.
Defeats Danny Allen by Gogo Plata.
This was a fun. I have a soft spot in my heart for Gogo Plata because I used it in a white belt match to get a guy's arm.
You fucking evil bastard.
We know this, Emil. We know that I'm a bad man.
Evil bastard.
And I just love watching, like, just always you get highlight Gogo Plata finishes, like Aoki's Gogo Plata finish, Diaz Gogo Plata finish. Like, it's a submission you don't see a ton, so when you do see it, it's like, oh shit, look at that.
Yeah, you know, it's especially impressive to me when, like, a 10th Planet person does it, because generally they have the amazing flexibility where, you know, if I need to get into an omoplata position, I need to get...
Gogo Plata or omoplata?
Omoplata.
Okay.
Like the precursor, right? Like, I need to be maybe perpendicular to my opponent. Sometimes I need to be, like,
you need to basically
parallel.
move your opponent instead of just doing it from straight on.
Well, yeah, so, like, I'll have to get parallel to them, but, like, we're both facing the same direction because I'm
Right.
super inflexible. Like, this kind of Gogo Plata is, like, you're
Steele
facing
does
them,
this.
like...
He just pummels his leg.
He pummels his leg in the most, like, absurd yoga fucking guru type way.
I really like the pummel here because he doesn't do it in a way that basically you see, like, oh, he's just weirdly flexible. No, he just moves his leg in. He doesn't, like, have to strain the ligament on the leg, the LCL, to pull it through. He just, like, opens his hip up and puts his foot in front, and you're like, God damn, that's really impressive.
Yeah, so...
Like, flexibility is a tool, and he has that tool.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. And so...
Danny starts fighting the bicep here instead of fighting the choking leg.
And he's more worried about... I think he might have been worried about the sweep, but I feel like even though, like, people don't want to respect the Gogo Plata...
I don't respect it.
Dude, you gotta fucking respect it. Like, it's a legit submission, and, you know, people consider it low percentage, and yeah, okay, it's not as, you know, it's not like a fucking, you know, bow and arrow choke or like armbar or something like that. But people confuse seeing it rarely with, like, how low percentage
with it being ineffective.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we don't see it that frequently because people don't go for it that frequently.
But when you do see a guy go for it, it's typically and yeah, I think about that. The more we see guys go for it and get into that position, You see them finished at a higher frequency than you would expect given the rarity of the position.
Right.
In all honesty.
So like this comes down to it where if there is something that's choking you, like you have to deal with it,
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
And he goes back and forth between the foot and the arm and the foot and the arm, and it just seems like that Steele is able to get his foot just under the chin enough, and then he does like the gangster finish for the gogoplata, and he locks his leg like a triangle grip, like a figure 4 grip on his legs, and just has both hands behind the head and hips up into it. Because everyone that doesn't do a lot of gogoplatas thinks that the way to finish the gogoplata is that you're pushing your foot into the neck. That's not really what's finishing it. It's what's finishing it is usually you pulling down on the head and pushing it. It's a combination that finishes it. So if you lock that leg in there and push, it's just a beautiful finish, and you don't see guys finish the gogoplata with that figure 4 of the legs as frequently. So again, deservedly submission of the night. Anything other pieces you want to add from a technical perspective?
No, that's it. And just respect the fucking gogoplatas.
I mean, don't respect it, but
I think you should respect it. I think it's fucking
all these
legit.
flexible people that don't have 2 bad knees as a result of LCLs popping.
Here's the reason why you respect it, because you don't want to be the dude who got fucking tapped by a gogoplata, man. That's why.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So anyway, let's get through this. So top of the brown belt results, we have this is for the fight to win brown belt adult gi heavyweight championship.
But because you're out next week, I'll give it to you. Take him a shit meal.
This is Ryan Walsh defeating Josh Guerra by split decision. Then we have Gabriel Souza defeating Danny O'Donnell by choke. We have Corey Kerber defeating Ivan Gongora by toe hold. We have Don Daubert defeating Michael Cashman by decision.
That's a dope last name.
Yeah, Cashman? Hell yeah. Austin Baker.
There was a guy on the card that I was watching for the Cowboy Fight Series. Last name was Champion. I was like, that is a hell of a last name.
It's like John Battle,
That's a pretty dope last name, too.
Austin Baker defeats Ryan Birch by armbar. Rob Sanchez defeats Juan Gonzalez via decision. And I want to just briefly talk about this in that at one point Rob gets the back and the commentators go, oh, he's going for a little Wagner Rocha style smothering, which is legal. And it's just laughing because like we talk about this a lot. Like this particular smother has gotten really popular, and Wagner Rocha is the one who's responsible.
What do you think it should be called?
I think it should be called a Wagner Rocha smother.
It should be
I think
like
that's fucking awesome.
Like a Wagner smother. Or it needs like a Wagner name or like a Rocha. Like I think Wagner's a better way to call it. Like he's going for the Wagner choke or something like that. I feel like we need to start referring to this as like the Wagner choke because he just brought. We've never seen a dude bring a position like into the forefront that quickly.
Well, it's a smother and not a choke, but yeah. Juan gets out, scrambles, and at the end, Rob does a really hilarious front flip Galvao style pass. Like you remember when Galvao was like,
"Yeah,
hey, fuck you" to that like black belt, and he like does the front flip like
a cartwheel. It's a cartwheel pass.
No, it was a front flip. It's not like a cartwheel pass. It's like where you do a front flip, kind of like your opponent is in seated guard.
Oh yeah.
You do the front flip, and then you have to scramble, or you're in like kind of a weird north-south position where you're facing upwards, and you have to quickly rotate around and spin to side control. And that's
so there's
pretty
like
much what
3
happens.
passes from the match that I'm thinking that you were talking about for the Galvao match. And I'm like, okay, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's 3 very, very interesting technical passes that he does, and this is the one you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. So then we have Jose Munoz defeating Koa Kalma by heel hook. Philip Olsen defeating Doug Hopes by heel hook. Nathan Robert Hagberg defeating Lucas Norat by decision.
On to the purple belt results.
Mina Burnside defeats Estrella Moreno by decision.
And that was Friday night for the purple belts.
Alex Horseman defeats Nick Burns by heel hook. Josh Castle defeats Zach Nicholas by decision. Oscar De Los Santos defeats Kevin Souza by decision. Thiago Asso defeats Alvaro Cardenas by armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the purple belts.
Johnny Tran defeats Billy Hoffman III by triangle. Shasta McMurray defeats Angela Shepard by toe hold. Nick Nelson defeats Casey Tanner by decision. Chris Coyne defeats John Caraveo by toe hold.
I have one note, and it just says brutal toe hold for that match. On to the kids and teens results.
We have Tyler Metcalf defeating Stone Durlick by Kimura.
And that was submission of the night for the kids and teens.
By the way, I think, that was the match where Tyler. So it's kind of like a from close guard, the standard like hip up, grab the Kimura, rip it across. I forget how like flexible kids are because like the arm is so far behind the back. I was wincing, but I guess kids have way more flexibility.
And kids go, I'm like 13, 15. I'm fine.
So Tyler had like someone there like threw his hat out like for the getting his hand raised, and he like put his hat on. His fucking flashy for a little kid. Well done, well deserved. Then we have Damien Hosokawa defeating Deshaun Newman by triangle. Joseph Cruz defeats Joseph Nguyen by decision.
Yeah, he almost fucked it up. It's he almost did the Nugent thing.
Yes. Emilio Brisello defeats Jamia Gunn by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the kids and teens. Overall, a great result, great event. And I go back and watch it, dude. I was watching the purple belt results. Purple belts, because that's what starts the card off. And dude, I love watching purple belts. We usually cover them a ton on the show, but all the purple belts are just good enough to really fuck someone up, but also just like new enough to jiu-jitsu where they'll make little technical mistakes here and there. Makes for really, really exciting matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always I go back and forth. I'm like, do we want to cover them? Do we want to not? And it's like, we usually don't cover it because our show would be like 3 hours long. And Emil would be like, hey, man, I'm not doing this anymore. It takes too long. So, but yeah, go back and watch. The whole card was just super toe-holdy, super heel-hooky, and really fun back-and-forth action all the way up through the card.
Go watch that main and co-main event, too. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. So that does it for our recap of Fight to Win 99. On to the next one. So on to our preview of Kasai Super Series happening on February 2nd, broadcast on Flow Grappling. Dude, this card looks amazing.
This card is fucking nuts, man. Like, so we'll quickly read you the main card here. We have Aaron Tex Jhonson versus Ricardo Demente Abreu. We have Dante Leon versus Matheus Lutes.
That is going to be
I want to talk about that for like a little while because that's going to be fucking
talk
awesome.
About it. Fuck it.
No, hold
on.
Right. Let me just finish. I'll just read it off. Man. Renato Canuto versus Marcio Andre and Gordon Ryan versus Joao Gabriel Rocha. Okay, let's fucking talk about this shit. Dante Leon versus Matheus Lutes.
We haven't even gotten the undercard.
I'm calling this now. Dante Leon versus Matheus Lutes is going to be the best fucking match on this card. It's going to be fucking amazing. So
if you curse this matchup, Emil, I will be fucking pissed at you.
Dude,
you'll be off on business travel, whatever you're doing, and I'm going to have to look at Josh. I'm about to talk about it as well. It was really slow, and it happened.
It's not going to be slow.
If you curse this matchup.
It's not going to be fucking slow.
With Matheus and Dante, I do not believe so.
It's not going to be fucking slow. It's not going to be slow. Like we ended the year, talking about kind of like, okay, what matches do we like? Did we learn anything about like athletes? Which athletes would we really start to focus on? Both of these guys we fucking listed.
Yeah, we're on that list.
I absolutely think this is going to be fucking amazing. Dante Leon is so versatile and so like consistent. Like both of these dudes always bring the fucking heat.
That's the thing. It's like both of these guys are guys that are not looking to play that back and forth points game. They're both looking to go for the sub, go for the positional dominance, and like continue to progress the position. They're not guys that are like content to just sit in a position and like ride out the time. And then that's why I like these guys.
Matheus Lutes is like, I like just watching that high level fluidity in passing combined with his fucking absurd athleticism.
Did you see him against Jeremiah Vance last time? At the last Kasai?
Dude.
Was it that match?
I can't remember.
We've seen him a couple times just put on outstanding performances, and like we saw him drop into a north-south choke last time. Last time we covered him, it was just amazing.
Dude, like both of these guys are
his
fucking
passings
amazing.
Look legit, like, and he's super explosive. Got those giant calves he can just throw his legs through. Yeah, this should be, I'm not gonna say fight of the card, but it would not surprise me if it was.
That's my hunch. I'm probably most looking forward to this out of the entire event.
I see Lutes on the top position here, looking to pass Leon and looking to get on
I see
top.
Leon like playing guard, but also like being really fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I see Leon going for the inversion on the legs.
Yep, exactly.
Trying to get to the back and trying to get to that knee bar that we saw him hit on King of the Mats.
Yeah, yep.
I feel like that. I feel like that's how this match is going to look. I feel like just given the matchup and given that Matheus' style of passing with that kind of far out, like really throw by passing that Leon's going to be looking to invert, go for the leg, maybe go for the back. And I feel like because Lutes can cut that angle and cut that corner so quickly, he's going to be trying to pass off it. I feel like we're going to get some really good passing scrambles here as a result of that matchup.
100%. So, I mean, like Tex Jhonson also puts on fucking super entertaining matches.
Yeah, we saw him last week, back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
We saw him Friday night at Third Coast, and then Fight to Win on Friday night, and then Saturday night we saw him on Third Coast Grappling. So being super active in that lead up to ADCC, he's already got the title. He's already got the North Coast. He already won the North American trials for ADCC for the East Coast.
That's right.
So he's at a slot. So he's going to be super active in that lead up. We spoke to him a little bit ago, and he has a bunch of stuff lined up this year before ADCC.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting.
It's going to be fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to that as well. Then we have Renato Canuto, also fucking like...
Yeah, he's the 2-weight champion for the Kasai.
And
so I think this is a super fight matchup. This is a 170-pound super fight matchup versus Marcelo Andre.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking ham. And then, of course, we have Gordon Ryan versus Joao Gabriel Rocha. Like, that I don't even need to, like, speak to how fucking ridiculous that fight's going to be. Like Nogi heavyweight fight is outstanding.
Yeah,
so
Gordon's been looking really, really good. I mean, Joao Gabriel's looking really
Gordon's
good
been looking
too.
Unstoppable, like, in Nogi. Like,
I haven't seen him compete in gi, so you can't really say in no-gi. So we know Gordon looks for the finishes. We know he is putting a bigger emphasis recently on, like, I am trying to finish everyone. So I don't foresee this match looking any differently than that.
Yep.
But Joao Gabriel is no slouch.
Yeah.
And he's again that upper echelon of, like, IBJJF guys. And so it should be a real interesting matchup. You want anything else on the main card? You want to talk about the undercard?
Yeah.
All right, undercard.
We have Andressa Sintra versus Jessica Swanson. We have Lucas Valente versus Rafael Barbosa.
And this is I like how the undercard has some gi matches on it too.
Hell yeah.
I like that they mix them up to do gi and no gi matches. I don't actually. Is this the first time that Kasai's done gi matches?
I can't recall.
I don't know. I think that this may be some of the first times we've seen gi. I know Kasai has typically been a no gi only event, and
that's what I think of it too. But I don't know if the undercards have had gi or not.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But then we have Raquel Canuto versus Chelsea Lyons.
Raquel. It's not Portuguese.
Got it.
Yeah.
Raquel Canuto.
She's Renato Canuto's wife.
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, really good competitor. We saw her. We've seen her at least on one of the Kasais, if not a couple of them. Really put on exciting matchups. Really good from the feet, and really dope black belt competitor. A lot of fun. Chelsea Lyons, again, it's no slouch either. This is a really, really good women's 145 no-gi matchup. It should be fireworks.
Absolutely. Then we have Tom DeBlas versus Bruno Bastos.
That's a 220-pound no-gi match. That should be a lot of fun as well. So under the undercard,
Vinny Sains versus Juni Ocasio. That's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, Juni's been on Kasai a bunch of times, and he's always super active, looking for the finish. His out of unity as well with a couple with like Tex in them. So we've seen him just on the super fight scene look really, really good recently. I think he's we're gonna cover him a couple more times. I think he's on 2 or 3 other upcoming events that we're looking at.
Yeah, he's all over. We saw him also in the East Coast trials. You know, like super active. We've seen Vinny Sains a bunch too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm pretty sure Fight to Win and I can't remember.
I can't recall, dude. Like I said, we need a database.
Yep.
We need like a super fight database where we can just pull up all the results for all the super fights we listen to.
We have Mike Medrano versus Alex Martins.
Yep. And then on to the undercard. Dude, this looks like a really, really good event. I think the undercard has populated primarily by a lot more local people. But again, even the undercard for Kasai has typically been really, really exciting. So the whole event overall looks great. And there's any of these other matchups do you want to talk about, Emil, or do you want to move on to the next event?
Let's move on.
Awesome. So on to our preview of Fight to Win 100 in Honolulu, Hawaii. They are taking the show on the road and on a big-ass plane over to a dope vacation spot.
Fucking A, it's a momentous occasion for them, so hell yeah.
100 events.
That's fucking awesome.
100 events. Like, very few promotions we've ever seen make it to 100 events.
With consistency and quality, too. Like, just fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely excited for them.
The funny thing is, we've been covering them since Fight to Win 53. And so we've covered nearly half of the events that they've ever put on for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, that's why we cover them almost every week. 39 plus times a year. So... Let's talk about the main event.
Fucking A, man. Baret Yoshida versus Kim Terra. This is a 145-pound black belt male gi title match.
Yep. It doesn't look like a master's title, so Yoshida's going up because dude, I can never remember what Yoshida has for titles or doesn't have for titles.
I don't care. He's fucking awesome. I'm going to watch him no matter what.
So we're going to watch him fight Kyle's brother and most likely look for the back crucifix. Yeah. And he's in the gi. So this should be a really, really good main event.
It's going to be fucking awesome,
because Yoshida always brings the action. There's never a stalling match. He gets that rule set. So this is a really good. We love watching Yoshida. So this is a really good way to have a title fight on a marquee card like this.
Yep.
Co-main event.
We have Tracy Goodell versus Rita Gribben. This is, well, do you want to do it? Man?
This is a 125-pound female black belt gi match. Again, 2 dope competitors as well. This should be another outstanding matchup.
Yeah, we see Tracy all the time. She's fucking amazing.
Yep.
We have Holland Gracie versus Dylan Royce.
Yep. We saw Dylan versus JT Torres at the Philly event.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dylan Royce is fucking amazing, and I think he was like 6-0 going to that, so I think he's 6-1 in Fight to Win or something like that.
He's got a real record in Fight to Win.
Real fucking good.
Yeah, but Highland's no joke either. So again, dude, this whole card is super exciting. 215-pound no-gi bout.
Chris Leben versus Bruno Ewald.
Wait, did you say Leben? That's Chris Leben.
Leben, sorry.
That's the red-haired dude that knocked out Vanderlei. That's like the guy that got knocked out by Silva. Like that's Chris fucking Leben, dude.
That's fucking. I had no idea.
That'll be exciting. I don't think Chris Leben's been on Fight to Win before, so
yeah.
At least I don't recall us covering him in the last 50 events on Fight to Win. So that'll be super exciting. We've not seen Leben. I think he's reffing now usually, so that'll be super exciting to see him. In no-gi on the top of the card.
Yeah, and by the way, I think it's Bruno Ewald. I think I mispronounced it earlier.
Nothing's new for us for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's par for the course for the Grappling Rewind.
All right.
235. We have a 235-pound black belt gi match.
Kaliui Kalani, Hosaka versus Titus Napoleon.
That is a very Hawaiian name.
Yes. Yep. It probably means something fucking awesome. I hope it does anyway, but it's cool sounding either way.
200-pound black belt gi match.
Kyle Snyder Olivares versus Cameron Frazier.
You have a 190-pound black belt gi match.
Ridge Blackburn, that does not sound like a real name, versus Zach Pang.
That's actually the dude's name. You can't just claim it's not a real name.
No,
God damn.
I have a goofy name, so I feel.
Yeah, you have no E in your name, which screws me up. 180-pound black belt no-gi bout.
Jeremy Nita versus Hunter Ewald.
We have a 175-pound black belt gi match.
Keola Akau versus Lindsay Archangel.
170-pound black belt gi match.
Cesar Casamajo versus Royal Mitchell.
165-pound black belt gi match.
Joel Buey versus Pete Shoemaker.
155-pound black belt gi match.
Clifton Tashima versus Jeff Wang.
155-pound black belt gi match.
Kevin Tang versus Kyle Foyle.
145-pound black belt gi match.
Gordon Kimura, hell yeah, that's a fucking awesome name, versus Weston Walchin.
140-pound black belt gi match.
AJ Mendoza versus Chris Nitta.
165-pound brown belt gi match.
265-pound.
What'd I say?
100.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. I do that all the time, apparently.
Darren Martin versus Patrick Stachel.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of other brown belts on the card. We have some purple belts on the card as well, and then a couple kids and teens matches all throughout the card. Overall,
stacked.
dude, I think this is like a half black belt event.
Yeah,
it looks amazing,
it's
and
deep.
It's a bunch of guys from Hawaii that we never get a chance to see in the lower 48. So it should be. I've been excited for this event since it was announced.
Yep.
The lineup looks to deliver.
It's gonna be a fucking party.
My only biggest party in grappling.
Yeah.
My only question is I have no idea what the time difference is because I don't own a globe.
Oh fuck! I forgot about that.
Is it 5 hours?
No.
Is it 12 and a half hours?
It's a lot because it's 3 hours to California and then Hawaii is way the fuck out. It's
It's Hawaii time, right? Is what it's called? Is the time zone?
Yeah, I'm not
it's called
sure.
Hawaiian time?
We'll look it up and we'll talk about it.
We won't. So that'll do it for that preview. On to the next one.
Hey, fuck you, man! I just looked it up. It's 5 hours back.
So on to our preview of Pantheon Grappling. This is Pantheon's first event, taking place on February 2nd in Leeds, UK. And Emil and I just found something cool out. Looks like there's a couple matches on this card that are submission-only grappling with strikes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're not sure entirely, like, open palm, closed, whatever.
We say we're not sure entirely. We're not sure at all.
Well, yeah.
I just, you literally just read through this, like, oh, look at this. And I was like, oh, I had not found that yet. So, I'm not sure if it's combat jiu-jitsu style or if it's like pancration style or what's going on, but I am excited for it to see if they have a different take on the rules for combat jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so this is on February 2nd, and it's going to be in Leeds, UK.
We just did that.
Okay.
That's totally fine. Keep going.
Well, Leeds, UK is probably 5 hours ahead, so how about that? New information, man.
Oh my God, we're gonna go back and forth, dude. We have 5 hours behind and 5 hours ahead from the East Coast time. This is gonna fucking destroy me. And you're on vacation or run business or doing other stuff that I know about. So this is gonna destroy Josh and I for time zones.
Have fun.
It's like ACBJJ. Okay, it's 12 hours back. You're like, oh my God, kill me. So let's move into the previews here.
So we have the submission fighting matches. That's what they're calling these. Brad Pickett versus Paul Reed.
One Punch Pickett.
Jabid Rahman versus Richard Mearns. Danny Misson versus Danny Stirk.
Danny versus Danny matchup.
Harry Eptridge versus Muhammad Azim.
And then we have a series of no-gi matches that are just submission only. Doesn't look like these are strikes. There's some gi matches on the card, and there's some no-gi matches on the card. We're going to read through some of the no-gi matches to start out with.
So two big matches off the bat. We have Ross Nichols versus Bradley Hill. Ross Nichols, of course, going on a fucking tear. And what was it?
Does he have... is he in ADCC now?
Yes.
He won the European trials
Yes.
at the weight class for ADCC.
Yep. That's
So
exactly
again,
what I was about to say.
another lead up should be a really, really good matchup.
Then we have Ashley Williams, who has competed on Polaris and
Grapplefest, I think.
Kasai. Oh no, I think he was removed from Kasai. He might have gotten injured, but he is a very young black belt out of Wales.
I think so. I think youngest black belt in Wales.
Yes, yeah. Versus Camille Wilk. We have Lloyd Cooper versus John Mathlin. We have Joshua Williams versus Jack Sear. Matty Holmes versus Josh Moorby. Nam Huang versus Jay Butler. Mark Spencer versus Mark Bottom. James Orr versus Daniel Hope. Nico Bajerski versus Jed Hugh. Kevin Corkle versus Kieran O'Brien. Nicola Fishwick versus Ashley Bendel. James Watson versus Mush Aslani. Maya Holmes versus Nadine Tavares da Silva. Callum Mullen versus to be announced. Nathan Kay versus Shay Montague. Matty Powell versus Jamal Raha.
On to the gi matches.
David Polomka versus Lee Simpson. Lewis Matthews versus Neil Atkins. Lee Walker versus Joshua Harry Taylor. Jake Goldthorpe versus John DeLima.
So that does it for the card. Looks to be a lot of fun. I don't know exactly where it's going to be streaming, but we will find that out, and we'll give you more information as that comes. You can find all the information on their website, and they list all the information on Pantheon. It's great.
Their website is pantheonfight.com.
Yeah, so take a look at it. Looks to be a lot of fun. They also have an Instagram where they've posted some information. That's how I found out about it initially. So looks to be a lot of fun.
Check it out.
One small item of correction for Fight to Win 100 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Troy Everett is actually against Chris Lieben. We were reading off an old list when we did the recording, so we wanted to update that. We covered Troy a lot. He has some of the best walkouts in Fight to Win, so this is a really exciting matchup between him and Chris Lieben. It's exciting to see Chris Lieben, retire and then move into grappling and also move into reffing. So this should be a really fun matchup. We're all excited about it, and I wanted to correct that before we put the show out. So that about does it for all the grappling-related stuff we got this week. It's been a really slow week for news, and got some event previews, but did you watch Bellator, by the way? Because I was watching Cowboy fights.
I watched the, if you could call them highlights,
Yeah, I watched for the AJ match. I was like, I want to see how he did. And I forgot that this was one of their 10-pole events, so it was Fedor versus Bader. And I had to watch my man Fedor get dropped one last time.
Fucking
dude, in the first round, quick. And it's just like you saw Bader kind of touch him, and it was just like, oh,
it was,
man.
Yeah, it looked like a kind of snappy jab.
It looked almost like a far out hook to me, but yeah, it could have been a jab, but it was like he and just dropped. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, it was not wobbled, not anything, just collapsed.
Dude, I love Fedor too, so it's hard to watch. But he made it. It's fucking crazy that he made it to a title.
Yeah, it's true. It's impressive at his age. Like, obviously he's had an amazing career, but like sometimes you're like, man, like seeing some of these guys seem like BJ Penn.
Do what Pickett did. And like retire, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna grapple now.
Yeah,
I love when Pickett first retired. We saw him on.
Could you imagine if we had Fedor in grappling events?
Right,
that would be fucking
That'd be
amazing.
Fucking dope. When Pickett first retired, I remember him talking about. He was talking about. He did some. I forget what event he did. Might have been. Wasn't Fight to Win. He did something. Might have been one of the. Might have been Polaris actually. And he talked about. Yeah. I forgot how hard opening the guard is without strikes. Because he couldn't just punch guys to open the guard, and I just laughed. I was like, "Yeah, it's hard as shit, isn't it?" And but I love that he's like continued to do grappling, and we've seen guys like Chris Lieben coming out and getting on grappling cards. We see more and more fighters retire and go into grappling, and I'm hoping that's what we see from guys that want to continue to compete because it's way less hard on the body. We see guys like Benson. We see plenty of guys that kind of do both now, and in the future, I hope that we continue to see that so we don't have to kind of put our favorite fighters out to pasture after some hard losses and then never see them again.
Yep, I agree. But yeah.
This is a super fucking downer note to end the show on.
Yeah.
Like, I watched Fedor get knocked out again. That was rough. I'm sad about that.
But, I mean, on the other end, like, we have had really great MMA fighters. Well, I guess, like, they started off jiu-jitsu, but, like, coming back in, like, Lovato and
yeah,
yeah,
and we see Dorino come back, and we see honestly a lot of the guys like Wagner came back from MMA. He was like, I'm coming back.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of good in the bad there.
That's right.
So I got nothing else to make. Anything else?
That's it, man.
All right, as always, we are the Grappling Rewind. We see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.